Okay, so here we go. Boilie paste. I just finished making a batch of boilies, and now this right here, this ball of it right here, was left in my nozzle of my bait gun. Right here is my bait gun. Well, love this thing. Otherwise, I'd look like Popeye and have freaking Popeye arms, but getting lazy and old now. I'm down to that. So this is what's left in the end of it. It did not finish all of it, so you end up with, I'm sure people that's made boilies understand, but the end of this right here is all still full of boilies. It can't just, that plunger does not push all the way out, so it stops like right in here somewhere. So you end up with this thing full, and that's what this ball is from. So I used to just roll these up by hand. You know, when I got done, I'd just roll up a bunch of these at different sizes. Sometimes I'd make them bigger because I liked bigger ones than my, just to use for whatever, thinking it would eliminate a bunch of smaller ones or nuisance fish, which we don't have a whole lot of nuisance fish other than catfish, and they'll eat as big a one as you can put out there. They'll eat bigger ones than any carp will. But yeah, anyway, I'm going to show you. I'm going to put this in what we call, or what they call, what is armor mesh. So I use this. It looks like PVA mesh, but this does not dissolve. It stays, but it's very coarse. You can see, I'm not sure if you can see how well you can see, but it's a pretty coarse mesh, and it does not dissolve in the water. You put it in the water and it does not dissolve. So I take a boilie of whatever size I want. I roll it up to look at and see what size it is. So this is a pretty big one. Now I feed them with 16 mils. This particular one, probably 18 to 20, I'm guessing. Close to 18 probably. So now I know how big it is. I just roll it up to fit down inside this. Drop that down in there. I'll use this, I'll mash it down. Take up all the air in it. Pull it up tight here. And then I push it out and make a ball. You can see it all kind of oozing out of the mesh. You kind of want that because you don't want them to fill that plastic, although they eat plastic. Not sure how much difference that makes. And then once you twist this up and tie it, so you twist this up, and you can twist it tighter and make more come out. Ideally, this is probably best done on the bank. I'm doing this ahead of time and for demonstration purposes. And I've done them ahead of time. Still yet to see how that works out, but I'm done some ahead of time. I'm going to take with me next time, but I'll take some paste with me. I mean, it's still fresh. I'm not boiling it. This is unboiled. All the rest of my boilies are boiled, of course. And this egg is just my same recipe. This is just leftover that I've used and not boiled. So you tie it off just like you do PVA mesh. So you just do an overhand knot on this, and you do a second knot just like PVA so that you have two knots. And then you take your scissors or whatever to cut this, and you cut it close to this knot in between there, like that. Now, I've seen somewhere, I think, where they melt the end of that. Maybe you keep coming from untied. I'd say I never worried about this, and I didn't have troubles, but I just did demonstrate. I tried to do this once before for demonstration for this, and it happened to me, but I've made several, and this has not happened before. So you can melt them just a little bit. You know, just don't want it to, just so it doesn't come untied, maybe to make it a little neater. You can see how the fuzzy part of it right there is. It probably helps seal and helps keep that thing good and tight. And I'm not smoking, it's just cold out here in my barn. It's winter here in Indiana, here in the States. But right there is the finished product. Now, when you have the way I was doing it is I was taking my Boilie needles. I would put but anyway, I would take a piece of plastic corn, put on here, then I'd put this on. It goes right through that mesh. I mean, super easy. And this is tough. This mesh is pretty damn tough. It's not gonna come off, or I have not had one get pulled off by a fish. So now recently, you don't have to. You can use a Boilie stop or whatever on here to keep it from pulling through there. As long as it didn't pull that mesh, you'll be fine. It won't come off there. But I've been putting a piece of plastic corn on there, whatever color, yellow is what I've been using. And to help hold that on, and just use it just like a Boilie, basically. And that right there, piece of paste that's not going to come off on a hair rig or turbo German rig in my case. I prefer turbo German rigs. I prefer turbo German rigs just because that's what I do. Now these here, I'm going to make several of these up ahead of time, I think. And I'm going to keep them in here. And that way I'll be ready to use when I get there. I'm thinking it's going to be just as good as making them fresh, or maybe not just as good, but I think it'll work. It'll be better than using Boilies. It's been sitting in my Boilie bag for who knows how long, or in a freezer or wherever. I mean, I take them out fresh, but still, it's fresher than that. It's not boiled, so it did not hide any of the flavors and stuff in my boils. That's just it. That's the demonstration of my Armor Mesh Boilie paste. Thanks for watching, and have a happy new year.